What is up, everyone? Welcome to the fifth episode of the MFT pod. Your host is Flemex. He accompanies me, my best friend, The TakeOn.
What's up, Flemex? How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm eating a little bit of chips right now, so it might sound a little bit unprofessional, but hey, let's see how it goes.
We just chilling here, man. Don't worry.
So, it's a lot of news. Politically, wrestling, I guess you have everything bunched up together. Just to let everyone know, we are from LA, California, so we kind of are dealing with a lot of pretty much, it's a very hectic political climate during this week. A lot of protests, a lot of ICE, detainings and stuff like that. So it's been a pretty sad week for LA, personally for our communities.
And believe it or not, it's something it's something that can be very emotional. And it's very impactful towards the community. So when you're seeing a lot of things happening out there, and then you're seeing that everything else is turning inside out from a media perspective, it just kind of like it gets you question a little bit on what else can you do to really better the situation. But with that, let's talk about Brody King. He happened to be one of those people that used his platform to advocate for the community.
Yeah, pretty cool dude. I'm not a fan of his work when he was with, what was that group called? With
The House of
Malachi?
Black.
The House of
The,
Black, there you go. I was not a fan of that character and of that little group and how they portrayed everyone there. It was kind of goofy in my opinion, but shout out to him. He's literally made pretty much publicly clear about what he feels, that it's pretty much just like a protest. It's not as crazy as media makes it sound. This whole city is literally not burning down. We are literally chilling in our homes, seeing LA from the outside and nothing is happening. Unfortunately, there is some people that obviously go crazy, but even then it's not burning down. And, shout out to Brody King for being, and using, like you mentioned, using his platform to pretty much,
his status.
demonstrate his support.
Oh man, with that tweet that was said about him standing up for the community, should we talk about that, or should we just continue saying, in case of this episode ever makes it that far, to reiterate that this city is not burning down? However, but there is a small part of LA where there is a disruption, of course, peaceful protesting, but then you see law enforcement officers just having to be there to, again, perform a duty that is being asked. But you'll notice that a lot of that is just stemming from just the portrayal of what the perception. It all stems from like how it's just twisting the narrative. But would you like to dive deeper into the tweet that was giving a praise or an admiration towards Brody King?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much just being pretty fair about like how it's mostly about like the whole law enforcement and the kidnappings and the detainings, no due process. It is bullshit, to be honest. But there, you know how wrestling is with a bunch of right wingers, and I mean, not a fan of them. I did have my political science major, and I just not a fan of them. That's all I'm gonna say. They think everything is woke, but hey, man, we're here to talk about wrestling, right? A lot of people are always saying, "Oh, let's just stick to wrestling," but Brody King is a great example of using his platform to pretty much advocate for the people. A lot of people just have they disagree, and that's fine. I mean, good for them. But I mean, shout out to him for using his platform to pretty much bring awareness.
What most people forget is that pro wrestling is a reflection of reality, and we're seeing it unfold right in front of our very eyes. We're seeing good guys, bad guys. Fortunately, things just get more serious when you're running an entire ship of different varieties, and it's just a very horrible situation going on here in LA. You see, you just see a lot of heightened awareness and a lot of which is passing around like cur- courtesy advisories, if that's the right word to say, letting people know to, hey, beware, this is where these agents are at. And as thankful as and grateful we are for those people to pass around those resources, it is a very scary situation. But again, Flemex, would you just talking about that? Just going back on that tweet that was praising admiration towards Brody King. They mentioned a certain wrestler that claims to stand up for for us, but instead has sold out. Who would you like to? Who would you like for that? Who would you like to reveal who that is?
Yeah, pretty much my goat, CM Punk. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about his, when he was fired and how he had so much hatred towards the Fed, and he was pretty much telling the Miz to go fuck himself and take that blood money from Saudi, and now he's technically taking that Saudi money because he's going all the way over there to go against John Cena. So how do you feel about that? Well, the way I feel about it is yes, it's better to always keep your mouth shut because it always brings back things that you say. Most importantly, this because he pretty much saying that you're a sellout, you're doing this and that, and now look at him, he's doing it now.
And it's funny how like a lot of people are going. I wouldn't know whether to say covering it like it, but they're saying that it is part of a character evolution of CM Punk because Punk has always been known to be anti-establishment, and then now, like as older as he's getting, now he is becoming the establishment.
And like I said, he is. I know CM Punk is one of those guys who's very advocate with politics and he's very upfront with it. He's ally for the trans community. He literally posted on Instagram about what's going on in Chicago. Um, Stuff like that happens, but the problem is essentially him saying, "Yeah, let's not like." It just sounds like a hypocrite. That's essentially what it is.
You should have seen on threads how the sickos were going. They were having fun with it. They were having fun with pulling up that old tweet that just aged fine like wine. And they were just having fun by pointing out his hypocrisy and that he sold out. He took that he's they one of the threaders called him what's their name? What's their name? Books and Body Slams, if I remember correctly. She refers to him as BM Punk, Blood Money Punk. So I'm like, oh wow. So a lot of people are having fun with it. If you ask me what I think about it, again, I agree with you. It's always best to keep your mouth shut because whatever you could say, especially online, like Twitter, it can always come back and bite you. It can always come back and bite you. It's always best to just be the observer, honestly, and it may seem like a a thing that someone that's a coward or scared
And
to
it
say.
comes to, sorry to cut you, it comes back to the topic of tribalism. Now, when like, what we're talking about Brody King, like I said, some fans are right wingers, and then they come to realization that, ah, shit, this was a liberal. Ah, shit, this was a woke, as they refer it. Or like when it comes to CM Punk, it's like, ah, shit, this man literally was talking bad about Saudi and, the country itself. And then it's like, well, he's going to wrestle there when he said he was never going to. So essentially tribalism does take a part of it. And a lot of people are kind of just going back and forth. For me, honestly, it's like, I genuinely don't
Don't.
care in a sense, but it does make him look bad. Personally, I'm not gonna go out and just be like, man, fuck this dude because he's doing this, this, and that. But essentially, for me, it's more of like, yikes.
Like, yikes. I mean, it is what it is. To each their own, right?
Exactly. At the end of the day, he's not paying my bills. um, that's the way I see it. It's like, yeah, I'm a fan of his wrestling. At the end of the day, that's his decision, and he's the one that decided to do that. What else can we do, right?
Exactly. And either way, people are still going to catch up on what's going on. People are still going to watch. Whether it's hate
Exactly.
watch, whether it's hate watch or fan watch, you're still going to watch. You're still going to keep up. You're still going to thread about it. You're still going to tweet about it. You're still going to skeet about it. Everything under the sun, you're still going to keep up with it. So why talk all this shit for? Either way, you'll come down looking like CM Punk with that tweet as well. The embodiment example of tribalism.
With more tribalism news, let's talk about Mariah May.
Blake Monroe.
Oh, sorry, sorry, I said the wrong word, the wrong name. Not Mariah May, the other name.
Rip. Blake Monroe. Oh my lord. Based on these segments, these vignettes, brother, I feel like AEW produced on Mariah May more than what the Fed is on Blake Monroe. Those are some ass cheap production ads for a Blake Monroe soap. I'm sorry, look, listen, I don't want to play a part of this whole tribalism, but man, that is that, is that all you can really do with Mariah May? You tell me what you think about this, cause I lost my shit, low key, after I saw what they did with her.
Personally, I don't think it's gonna damage her. Like the name itself is gonna. A lot of wrestlers have their names changed, right? It's the WWE. It was kind of expected, but we didn't want that to happen. I felt like I saw on Twitter, on Threads, oh sorry, X, pretty much a lot of people just kind of were hoping it would be Mariah Monroe, or just Mariah, right? I feel like it's simple, but changing the whole name itself is kind of crazy. I mean, we'll live with it. Everybody's, or I feel like they're over exaggerating in a sense. Yes, the name sucks, but like, we'll still watch regardless. Um, uh,
Exactly.
yeah, but when it comes to AEW's production, yes, way better. I felt like, which is kind of interesting cause they are kind of continuing that
It's an
character that
ongoing
she,
thing that they're still improving. AEW still currently still improving the production, but to see that
no, no,
they
no. What I was saying is they're continuing off the trend of AEW of how they're pretty much character is in AEW, they're kind of slowly transitioning into WWE. So they are using AEW. So if anybody said, oh, the WWE doesn't need the AEW, they're literally using the same character and they're just kind of like slowly transitioning into the WWE. It's Mariah Murray, it's Andrade, it's literally Rusev when they're still doing that gimmick. What is it called?
the
The
redeem.
Redeemer? Exactly. They're still using that character. So at the end of the day,
Actually, I never
AEW,
thought about it like that. Actually, you
yeah,
actually noticed that?
yeah. So when it comes to, well, I've seen it, but like it's kind of noticeable that WWE is kind of just using the gimmicks that AEW has done, and they're slowly putting that transition. Mariah with the whole Tony Storm. Like that's to me, Blake Monroe and like the whole like extravagant. It's literally just a gimmick of Tony Storm and Mariah May combined. Am
I
I
saw
wrong?
like yeah, I saw like that with her, but like I didn't see it like that with Ricky Saints or Ethan Page because they've had those long gimmicks way before AEW.
No,
So I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like they picked up after their work, and then they're just polishing it into the Fed's version.
And they're taking credit for it. I already know that's how the WWE is.
Yeah,
Like when it comes to Rusev, he had his old gimmick of Rusev Day, but now they're using that Redeemer gimmick, which is kind of interesting because it's like, huh, I guess they like the product from AEW if they're using that same gimmick.
the thing about it is that the Redeemer was unfinished, bro, and we can
That's
probably
what
add we can probably add this into the episode, but we can talk about the TNT Championship, or what we already talked about last time, but the Redeemer was a short-lived gimmick that was really good at the time. And once Sammy Guevara won Miro, it was the TNT Championship just had a very complicated life.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. WWE production loves AEW. As a matter of fact, people could tell me something about it, but they love the product because they still use the same gimmicks from AEW to the Fed. But to get back to my point, the Blake Monroe, yes, it's literally the same gimmick we saw. It's just the Tony Storm and Mariah May combined together. Literally. That's how I see it. Will she thrive in WWE? Of course she will. They're literally pushing her. Yes, like you said, the production is kind of goofy looking, but I guess that's just a little smart. I guess the third brand or developmental NXT. But 100%, the whole Mariah May name is gonna slowly transition. They're gonna build her up. She's gonna be world champion of the NXT Women's Division. After that, they're gonna do the same thing like they did with Julia, Stephanie, Vaquer, where they're just gonna push her and put them in the main roster. And I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna forget about the name change, and they're just gonna stick with Blake Monroe. However, the JC Cobb's name change was absolutely terrible. That I cannot and will never defend. That's awful.
On the bright side, he still owns Jeff Cobb. But
That
let's
is
look up
true.
let's on the bright side, let's look up let's look up where that Blake name came from. Let's see.
I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure she agreed to it. Let's be real. She's literally, she was a day one fan and she really wanted to go to the WWE. If she didn't even want to re-sign, that just shows to you that she was going to do willingly anything to be in that company.
100%. You mentioned that tweet that she tweeted out glazing since day one, bro. Glazed her experience over there in NXT UK, and yeah, AEW was just a stepping stone for her. But look, at least look again. I'm gonna go back to Jade Cargill. At least Blake Monroe didn't shit on AEW. At least so far that we know of. I may change my mind over time, but she hasn't busted a Jade Cargill who had been talking all her shit before she even debuted. Why? Because the buzz was all in the fact that she signed with WWE. But where's the buzz now? It's all about what's her name? Bianca Belair.
Naomi.
Naomi. Bro, where's Jade Cargill in there? It's just those things like that that I feel like it bit her in the butt because she hasn't. I don't know. I mean, maybe there may be some Jade Cargill defenders that there's a story that's progressing for her to start her singles run, but look, even then, even as her being in a tag team, she hasn't had a singles match. And even if she does, how long are her matches when she's in the ring? Like when as she's tagged in, like everything, it just made her look bad. At least for me as a fan. I'm not sure what other AEW fans think. What do you think?
In regards to Jade Cargill?
Yeah, and like just both of them using AEW as a stepping stone.
Yeah, like I said, They really like the production that AEW is giving off these wrestlers. Jade Cargill was pretty much and correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously you were watching during that time, but she was pretty much deemed as in like the queen, right, of AEW, where she would dominate the whole division. She was going on an undefeated streak, and obviously they were trying to build off that. If I'm not mistaken, they were hyping her up. They had reports on ESPN, the greatest free agent in the market, yada yada yada. Was it as they expected? Not really, because she should have been world champ by now. Wouldn't you agree?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry about that. I actually had looked up where Blake Monroe came from. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, yeah. What I was saying is, like, and going back to the idea that I was going is, they were obviously WWE loves the production of AEW, and I was saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jade Cargill's run was pretty much deemed like as the queen of like the ring, defeating
Okay.
everyone,
I
being
remember that.
undefeated,
So,
and being pretty much the top woman in the division. But when her transition to the WWE, they were marketing off as the greatest free agent in the women's division, a needle mover, pretty much building off like this woman is going to be the top head world champion wrestler. Was it was it successful as they thought? I don't
nope.
think so.
Because here's the thing. So one thing that I could probably correct there is that she was. I don't know if she was deemed as a queen, but she did have an undefeated streak, and she was the first TBS champion. She was AEW's first television champion, their TBS champion. Here, let me look up real quick. TBS, the TBS champion. I for sure feel confident that it was Jade Cargill who's their first champion and their longest reigning. Yeah, the inaugural and longest reigning champion Jade Cargill, who held the championship for 508 days. So she was just on an undefeated streak, and she was one of the closest examples of a Goldberg run, where limited in ring experience, and everybody was putting her over by letting by of course letting themselves get pinned by her. So she was just undefeated. Her physique, um, there wasn't really much more into Jade Cargill, to be honest. She had good mic skills. I mean, you can give her something and she'll do like to give a promo, she'll do great. But in ring wise, she had to be carried. She had to be carried, and the smaller the opponent was, the better because she was able to for sure use her strength and come off on top. So yeah, I don't. WWE confirming what you said. WWE does like AEW's production because they're going off based off of what AEW produced, and they're continuing off with the likes of Mariah May or Blake Monroe, Jake Cargill, yeah, and Miro, because Andrade didn't Andrade's what Andrade was before AEW was a whole different guy than what we got in AEW. And that's the same guy that he brought. That's the same person he brought from AEW to WWE. He brought
Exactly.
he brought Andrade el ídolo. He didn't bring Andrade Cien Almas.
Exactly. Which, like I'm saying, WWE loves the production of AEW, and I'm kind of surprised you didn't notice it before, and I didn't mention it to you before.
Well, like I said, for Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints, and All Ego, Ethan Page, I didn't see it like that. But yes, it is. When you put it when you put it like that for Blake Monroe or
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill, yeah, they do like to coast off the coattails of AEW.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. We'll see what Mariah May upholds herself as in the WWE.
I
Because to be honest, I feel like the women's division in the WWE is stacked.
definitely.
It is. over than AEW, to be honest.
You think the women's division over there is over than the AEW roster?
To be honest, with the amount of star power they have, yes. Personally, for me, this is just a biased opinion. Don't go out freaking out on me. But AEW does have stars. I mean, let's be honest. They have Megan Bayne, who I've been like a big fan of, and you finally started liking her wrestling
She's
after I
cool.
kept. The production on her character is really good. There's pretty much it. They're not like falling behind, but obviously the star power is way different from WWE and AEW.
Yeah.
Speaking and to transition to a new topic, can we talk about how Gunther finally beat Jimmy's brother? Oh my goodness.
The ring general is back, baby.
Oh my goodness. I was literally geeking out once I saw that. I was like, thank God. I did not want to see any more of Jimmy's brother.
So we're gonna dedicate this part of the episode to Flemex, who likes to boast his his uh his emphasis on Jimmy's brother.
The booking decision, WrestleMania, with that match, Gunther versus Jimmy's brother was just atrocious. Literally. Atrocious. And to be honest, I'm gonna be fair with the critique. Yes, Jimmy's brother was very over with the crowd. I'm not gonna necessarily hate on that, but like him holding the title was just bad. And literally, it was a waste of a Royal Rumble winner. It was a waste of a WrestleMania match against Gunther, who, when have you seen him have a bad match? Like, we're done. Like, it's done. Like, they've had rematch against rematch against rematch. Let's get over it. Like, I'm done. I don't want to see that match again. It's just bad. So now I'm kind of hoping with this reign that Gunther has is how is he going to utilize it, and hopefully,
Stay over.
yeah, stay over and Triple H book him, because honestly, there's so many way better competitors than Jimmy's brother for that title, and I hope he has the same reign as an IC for the second chance. Hopefully this time it's better and effective, because a lot of fans were just critiquing it because it was boring. Like, Gunther has no personality, but the whole point is him being like, his IC reign was just beautiful.
It was prestigious. It was a work of art.
Honestly, so thank you, Jimmy's brother. I hope his dad doesn't have a mental crash out moment of him complaining. But yeah, that made my day. That Monday, oh my goodness.
Who do you see? Who do you see coming after the world champion?
Um, I would really want Ilja back. I know he's injured, but I really want that one-off match against Gunther.
Gunther, I forgot about that. Their match at the NXT UK was brutal. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
lord.
you know how the casuals are gonna be like, well, I want a story.
Man, fuck your snap, kidding.
I'm so happy. I'm literally so happy that families all over the country saw their pretty boy Jimmy's brother lose, and all those kids eating lose.
Yeeting,
But
man.
I do want a Gunther versus Sami Zayn match. For the world heavyweight title, I want him against AJ Styles. I want him against literally Ilja. There's so many better potential.
Finn Balor.
But like I said, that's just a personal choice. But I 100% think that they're gonna use Gunther versus Goldberg, since I'm pretty sure he's gonna appear next week on Monday.
Oh, really? I
Yes,
heard rumors about it, but I didn't know whether it was true. Is that right?
yes, he's
No
gonna
way.
appear in Atlanta for the Monday Night Raw of that week. So they're probably gonna use them. Um, to be honest, I know it's gonna be like his retirement tour, quote unquote. So that will be interesting. Like, Come on, man. Like, how do you have Jimmy's brother and literally just think he's gonna run, like, have that title?
Why
Like, you could
not?
have,
Why? Huh?
let's be honest, you could have Gunther versus Chad Gable, AJ Styles, Penta, Sheamus, even Rusev for
My thing,
that world title.
my thing was that if Goldberg is going on a retirement tour, then why take the title away from Jey Uso? Just take it away from. Then why have Gunther win the championship from Jimmy's brother? You should have kept it on Jimmy's brother and have Goldberg defeat him there. He'd take the pin instead of Gunther.
Mm, I guess. But
What, what?
I don't think Gunther's gonna take the pin for Goldberg, to be honest.
I hope not. I hope not.
I really
Gunther,
hope he doesn't.
Gunther's my boy, man. He needs to come out strong from this. But man, we transition out of the topic. I never really got the chance to explain where Mariah May's new name came from. So, as we already know, it's a given that Monroe comes from Marilyn Monroe. But you want to know where Blake comes from?
Where?
A tribute to her niece.
For Mariah?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. That's a very interesting thing. I didn't know.
Just kind of like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens' name as well. He went by Kevin Steen pre WWE, and now in WWE he goes by Kevin Owens because his son's name is Owen.
Huh. But
The
yeah,
the one son that looks like him, his name
yeah.
is Owen.
Pretty cool. That's pretty dope, honestly.
So pretty cool that the Fed allows the stars to start over with a different name. It allows them to choose a name that has some meaning to them.
Yeah, like a
Right.
significant thing. But like I said, Mariah May was gonna, I don't think the name change was gonna affect her at all. She was a day one Fed soldier, so, so I don't think she cared about it.
She'll be fine.
Um, let's go to the next topic that I really want to talk about. Well, you want to talk about is Wardlow. They
Wardlow,
just came up to news that I think he's gonna be in a show, if I'm not mistaken.
the American Gladiators on Amazon Prime. For
Interesting.
any of you guys that are gonna watch it, let me know. Let me know how it go. But Wardlow, man, Wardlow. We heard that the other stars that are gonna be there are who else? Let me check. What was that? What was that tweet that we saw?
Look for up, but just to give a little backstory, Wardlow for the TakeOn, he's literally been hyping up this wrestler for so long to me before I even started watching AEW. He was always telling me like, nah, it's this man. He's him. He's the next potential. He's the new star. And look at him now. Can you give me a little bit of more explanation on that, please?
You're putting me on the spot where I'm about to pull all my hair out.
Why?
Uh,
Why?
man, so there was a time that Wardlow was him and could have been him. But based on what happened, as you know, with that one storyline that you kept trash talking your lungs out about, what were they called? They're not called the Paragon. What were they called? The Undisputed Kingdom. Remember the devil? Yeah, he was one of those devils. And that was the last thing that we remember of him about. Just being one of those devils for Adam Cole.
Wasn't it because he got injured?
Yeah, there was news out there that he got injured and it just it cut him off his in ring. It took him out of the ring and now he's focusing on an acting career, which good for him, you know. Maybe that may be his entryway to go back to his dream and go to the WWE. But man, it just sucks that the AEW was that one spot that was willing to actually have him being one of their stars, like a homegrown star, starting from MJF's bodyguard to taking all the abuse from MJF and breaking out on his own to helping CM Punk so that way he can be free. And then he joins another. What is another? He joins other factions. I know the last one, of course, was the Undisputed Kingdom, but that's all he ever was. He was just a muscle. They never really utilized him. After he broke away from MJF, he went on a TNT title run, which honestly, looking back, was a huge mistake because why not just have him in the main event scene? You had him beat MJF, who was a guy that you was never really gonna see ever really touch the TNT champion. Maybe now you might. Honestly, now that I think about it, I think MJF could probably restore the TNT championship because Adam Cole. I take back what I said on Threads. He's not doing anything with that title. But going back to Wardlow is a former TNT champion, and after we mentioned the complicated life of the TNT champion, his reign didn't really do much to really help the title end either, because then his last title run was him losing to Christian's dinosaur Luchasaurus or Killswitch, which we haven't heard any update from him. So I do honestly hope that he is recovering well, because based on what I heard on what the emergency critical condition was, it was pretty bad, and I do hope that he recovers very well. Also, here he's an LA native, so I hope he's doing well here. What do you think about Wardlow so far? Because apparently I hyped him up much, but you don't see what I see.
Yeah, no, you were hyping him up a little too much. It's kind of funny, to be honest, because I feel like he was put in a wrong, like, you know how people say right, like right person, wrong type of thing. I feel like he was right for that company. He is right for that company. It's just the moment they book him, everything just goes downhill. Like pretty much his feud with MJF was literally really good, according to you, and I'm pretty sure everybody shares that similar opinion. But the moment he went solo, it just kind of went down with the TNT Championship. And then after that, he got injured, if I'm not mistaken, with that run. So that kind of backtracked him. Yes or no?
Yeah, and it didn't help too that AEW did not control the momentum very well for the Powerbomb Symphony.
Correct. So then afterwards, he was brought back from the injury into that storyline. And it was just very, very bad. It was a wasted potential of that group. I think TK just brought that group for nostalgia reasons. Undisputed Kingdom, Undisputed Era. But it was just bad, and I feel bad for them, honestly, for everyone in that group. Um, but mostly Wardlow. I feel bad for him because he was just pretty much like, oh, I guess it just didn't click with the fans, so oh well, bye, and we'll just leave you to catering or whatever. But I'm happy he's finally doing something, and hopefully they finally third time's the charm.
Hopefully, his stocks rise up from there. Excuse me, guys. Um, it's even drawn comparisons to where people say that Hobbs is what Wardlow could have been. But again, we have Hobbs is still where he is. You still don't see he's not in a story where he's trying to climb up the ladder. He's just he's with the ops. Right now, they're in the middle of a story where they're all trying to defeat the Death Riders. Because at the end of the day, Death Riders is the enemy, boy. But going to our next topic, what did you want to add on to Flemex? Hello?
So sorry about that. I thought I had my mic on. But essentially, I feel like it's a little short transition. We talk about TKO and its greed. I know we always talk about it. I feel like this is like the fifth time we talk about corporate greed. But yeah, the whole R-Truth situation, it's kind of crazy in a sense, where it's like obviously they fired the man, they didn't want to renew, and they kind of just fucked up, and they were like, well, I guess we'll just go. Uh, well, we fucked up, and now let's try to get back the fans because people were upset. Like he literally is. He's like a veteran. He is a veteran. He's literally like pretty much something like an important person for the WWE, and just to fire him. And obviously they're kind of transitioning into, oh, it's work, but I don't know, man. The TKO be flaunting about the ticket sales, the amount of merch money and stuff like that, but they can't do like take care of their own family, I guess you could say.
The ticket prices are going so high up, and at this point, we're just waiting for it to like affect them. Because the fact that people have to give up their life savings just to go to a WWE show is insane.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to a WWE show anytime soon. I mean, I wanted to go to. I would have wanted to go to Worlds Collide, but it happened during the time that I was at work. Which, speaking of Worlds Collide, man, during in LA, we had a AAA show.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that we weren't able to go that Saturday because me and the TakeOn were actually planning to go last minute, but unfortunately our schedules just didn't match up with work, and unfortunately we weren't able to see that. But we did see it on YouTube. Well, I saw it on YouTube. I was telling the TakeOn about it. I actually enjoyed it. It was way more enjoyable than Money in the Bank. One thing for sure, and we talked about this, but obviously Dominic Mysterio was in there, and he obviously challenged the match that was later added with Octagon. But this is what I'm trying to say. I genuinely feel like that IC title should be utilized in AAA. 100%. And Dominic is the perfect star to literally be the face. Well, not obviously, but like pretty much the star of that company.
Mhm. Man,
What are your thoughts?
man, it's just the way it's all amounted to, where it's all amounted to it. It Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Damn, he's not paying attention to me, guys. Um, what I was saying is, don't you agree that Dominic Mysterio should be the face of AAA for like a cool minute? He's like the perfect candidate,
We
especially
mentioned it.
using. Yeah, we mentioned it, but like I was saying, when he was he was there Saturday where he challenged Octagon. I feel like he should challenge pretty much. Like I said, he should be the star of that show.
He
But
for sure
obviously,
should have a pivotal role in that company. Because I mean, he's already mentioned that he is the best Mysterio, and given that Rey Mysterio has a large history in AAA, it could add up a lot to the AAA and Mysterio legacy. How it just goes from like Rey Mysterio, like coming from Mexico to the United States, having a son that grew in the business. Full, crazy or not, like at 8 years old, was in a storyline with Eddie Guerrero, and then now, like at a grown adult, he's in a time period with the WWE where the WWE is having open working relationships with other companies, and he has the opportunity to be with AAA, the company that his dad worked for, and start his own legacy. And so that, my apologies again. I was seeing out of my window what was coming up, and that's what caught my distraction. So, but Dominic Mysterio should have a central pivotal role into AAA because you just saw how the kind of in the momentum and the interaction he had with the fans. Everybody was just, you could just tell that Dominic can fit in AAA. And even if they use
100%.
and even if they use Triple A as a developmental, even great, that's fine. I mean, it's not the first time you've seen Dominic being in developmental. There was a time where he was a North American champion. There was a time that that man was showing up in all shows, Raw, NXT, SmackDown. It's like for Dominic, it's kind of like you just see that guy in every show, and you're just ready to boo him because you know what he's gonna do.
And he has a natural heat. Like if he has the heat here in the U.S., the heat he has in Mexico is just it's beautiful. Like the way we literally say are like we're vulgar, are pretty much profanity. It's like he knows how to like pretty much take that and just insult the fans, and it's just perfect, right? His whole gimmick of like I'm the best luchador, I'm the best in the U.S. and in Mexico. Like he needs to capitalize on that, and I hope they do. To be honest.
It helps the fact that he's bilingual and he can speak Spanish very well. So the fact that he can only talk, not only can he talk his shit in English, but he can also talk his shit in Spanish. It's like a good way as for him as a heel to combat all the fan outrage that he's gonna get as a heel.
Exactly, hundred
Like
percent.
like he once said to one of the fans, like "chinga tu madre," and then he said like "la que me la pela,"
Or how he calls Penta.
bien pendejo.
I'm telling you, he's just naturally good at doing that. So I hope the WWE actually takes advantage of that.
Dominic is gonna be a big star,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that we're here to see it. What would
Yeah.
something you would like to add on to Flemex?
Just to add on, because I know I'm a little bit on a time restriction. I think I want to give this topic to you. Who's coming up, or what are the rumors coming up of who's going to be the new member of the Solo Sokoa faction?
None other than one of the other Tongans that they brought from New Japan, named Hikuleo. So we have run into posts on Twitter that have said rumors and of any possible names that he might be called by, but he's gonna be aligning with Solo. What do you think? How do you think that's gonna work? Since the other Tongans are still injured, Jacob Fatu just broke away from Solo. What do you think the story is gonna be now? Is there still gonna be a beef between Solo and Jacob, even though Jacob is a U.S. champion? And if that's gonna be the case, then why have Jacob have the U.S. champion when the U.S. champion is not gonna be focused? Or am I just thinking too much into it here?
No, you're not thinking. I am kind of intrigued because keep in mind, I think literally he was signed for well over a year already, right?
Well over a year. I think he
Yeah,
had that.
well over a cool minute. And to finally put him on is kind of crazy because he was signed right after, if I'm not mistaken, when
Thomas.
Tama and his brother, yeah, during if I'm not mistaken, and I could be corrected, like a month afterwards, and they were talking about how he could have been in NXT division, and then obviously nothing came up to that. So now I guess they're gonna finally capitalize on it.
I wonder what he's gonna look like. I
But
wonder how he's gonna wrestle.
and what the name change is. But to be honest, the bloodline, I guess you could say season or like the bloodline saga, it's kind of like died out for me.
It really died out, right? For me, it died out
Yeah.
during the Tribal Chief Throwdown.
Yeah, to me, I feel like it finished right after Cody um
Why do you
won.
think they're continuing it though with Solo? Like, is Solo really that popular right now?
I guess it's just Samoan nepotism. But Solo is funny. He's a funny like his gimmick right now it is funny. So I'm not gonna lie about that. But I'm pretty sure it's just the Samoan nepotism. There's nothing else that I could add on to that, to be honest.
But I just really wonder where they're gonna present him. So Hikuleo's gonna debut, and now he's gonna be alongside with Solo. We're going to talk about other topics. We did talk about. Oh man, What was the other topic that we talked about? Um,
I actually don't know.
damn. Well, folks, that's all if there really was to it for this week. We apologize for the short news. Again, we wanted to explain ourselves that this just hasn't been a lot of wrestling news flowing around here due to the ICE raids happening in LA and all over the West Coast in the big cities. So we would like to apologize, but we would like to spread some awareness that there are families being taken away. There are a lot of people that are not given the right to live here, even though they are doing right. And as again, going back to Brody King's post, it's not a criminal, it's not crime related, it's civil related. So mm, those type of people, for the most part, are not causing any harm, and a lot of families are being taken away, and a lot of people are scared because they just don't know how to respond to these kind of things. It's just a lot for people to take in. So we appreciate it, you guys, for bearing with us for this short episode and the lack of news for wrestling right now. But we really appreciate
I just
you.
want to say thank you if you did stay up for this, for how long this episode was. I appreciate it. Hopefully episode 4 should be published today. Hopefully, if not Friday, but I am going to be going out for like a little appointment that I have. And then afterwards, I should post this episode today. But thank you guys so much for watching or hearing this. I can't thank enough for listening to our voices. I know we're not experts, but you know, it's just a little, like I said, it's just like a little phone call. It's just two best friends just talking it out, talking about our little hobbies, getting distracted. And yeah, thank you guys.